It's the season of giving, but it's also the season of getting married. Thanks for tuning into another special episode of Tyler Vance Rants. I am your host, Tyler Vance himself, and you're not. It is December 4th, 1984. On last week's Tuesday Night Titans, the spoiler explained the reasons as to why he wears a mask at all times. We were entertained in more ways than one in Cafe Renee, and it all came down to popularity when Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff unceremoniously lost a pose down to Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. This week's TNT is a little bit different than what you're used to, as most of it is in the form of a clip show while we prepare for the wedding of Paul Vachon next week. In between the clips of TNT's past, Vince McMahon, Lord Awful Alfred Hayes, and even occasionally the writer for WWF magazine articles, Amy McMullen, take us through the steps and the preparations for the ceremony. Our first stop of the night is a store where the Lord and McMullen herself are currently perusing the guest list as they're joined by McMahon. Notable guests that have been invited to this wedding are none other than the President of the United States of America and the First Lady, Ronald and Nancy Reagan, Queen Elizabeth II, and Prince Philip, as well as, of course, pop sensation Cyndi Lauper. I didn't get an invite, frankly, because I wasn't even born yet. Otherwise, both I and Mrs. Vance would have been first on that guest list in a show of Canadian solidarity. Ew! Don't kiss that freak, McMullen! The next stop is a flower shop, where it's revealed that Lord Awful Alfred Hayes himself has been put completely in charge of all of the floral arrangements that we'll see on next week's wedding. But he's been so invested in his job, he's actually locked his assistant in a fridge.
Joyce! Joyce!
Oh my goodness. Oh.
You really know how to treat a woman, don't you, Lord Hayes? We get to see just what the Lord has made for the wedding, and it's something, alright?
This is meant to hang from the belt, just here.
Oh, stop the pain. One of the most important parts of a wedding is the exchanging of rings, and so it's no surprise that Vince McMahon and Lord Hayes' next stop is the jewelry store. Apparently, Paul Vachon's hands and fingers are so large that they had to specially order him a 15-size ring. Just to give you an example, my ring is 6. McMahon then shows interest in a locket that looks like a dumpling and asks for an estimate.
Approximately how much would something like this cost?
Somewhere in the $4,000 bracket.
$4,000 for that piece of crap? No wonder Lord Awful Alfred Hayes is into it. They're both hideous. Guest list? Check. Floral arrangements? Check. Rings? Check. Wedding cake? Fingered and ruined by Lord Awful Alfred Hayes.
I think that's been made with Canadian geese eggs.
Oh, shut your mouth, you loser. If this cake were for a British person, it wouldn't be a cake at all, but rather a mincemeat pie. Now, how can you attend a wedding without having something nice to wear? Both the bride and the groom need to look their best on their day of days. And so we head to the Tailor Shop, where Paul Vachon has picked out a beautiful bright red jacket to go alongside his 15-size ring, which is 52 inches long. He is a massive man. Lord Hayes tries the jacket on, prompting Vince McMahon to critique him, saying that black is more the Lord's color.
No.
No, it's
black is definitely your color. The macabre.
Hey, Paul Vachon, eat your heart out.
Yeah, I'd rather eat my own heart than have to look at your ugly mug any longer. Since we've now covered the groom's wardrobe, it's time to see what the bride will be wearing, where Lord Awful Alfred Hayes and Vince McMahon head to the bridal shop and catch up with Amy McMullen before the trio inspect the gown that the future Mrs. Paul Vachon will be wearing next week. Then McMullen gets playful, revealing that after the ceremony, the bride might want to slip into something a little more comfortable, prompting the simp that is Lord Awful Alfred Hayes to dare McMullen to try the lingerie on.
I could imagine perhaps Amy demonstrating what that would look like.
She won't. Will she? Oh my gosh, she's going to change. And when she returns, Lord Hayes has a hard time picking his jaw up off the floor.
When I'm good, but when I'm bad, I'm bad.
All right.
Thankfully, a travel agency is our final destination on this week's Tuesday Night Titans, because I personally want to get as far away from that train wreck as possible. Where have Paul Vachon and his fiancée chosen to go for their honeymoon? Africa! On their itinerary, the Vachons will be partaking in such fantastic activities as dinner on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro, a Ugandan Fig Newton festival, and Tanzanian spear catching, just to name a few.
You have a little something?
Yes, a gorilla tracking mask.
Weddings truly are wonderful, and what better season to get married than in winter? With Christmas right around the corner, it's hard not to feel the love flowing through the air, and the thought of a loved one can even warm your heart on the coldest of nights. I'm truly looking forward to the magic of Paul Vachon's wedding next week, and I know you are too. Thanks for tuning in to another special episode of Tyler Vance Rants. Don't forget to like the video, hit the bell, and subscribe so you can feel the magic every time a new episode is released. You can also follow me on social media, where the warmth of my wrestling-related posts will keep you warm at all times. That's all for now. So long. Has been put specifically in charge of all of the floral guest lists. Check. Oops.